A colleague from his old job asked if he was still doing that Forex thing. He said yes and moved on. He no longer needed to explain it to anyone or convince anyone. The results were documented. That was enough. Two people who had quietly watched his track record for 4 months asked if he would manage their capital. He said yes. Clear terms in writing. Percentage split on profits. Defined drawdown limit. Monthly reporting. All of it. First month, managing their capital. Same system. Same rules. But the weight felt noticeably different now. He kept 3 months of personal expenses sitting in that cash. Not invested. Not in the market. Never in the market. An investor called during a difficult drawdown month. He walked them through every single trade. Every reason. 90 minutes. They stayed. But that call permanently reminded him what managing other people's money actually feels like from the inside. 80,000 under management now. Earning enough to live on carefully. Not lavishly. Carefully. That was the precise word. He cut 2 setups that stopped performing and added 1 new one after 6 months of live observation. Leaner system. People at the beginning think trading means constant clicking and action. It's mostly disciplined waiting. He was good at waiting now. He read a forum post from a beginner. Same wrong question he had asked 18 months ago. Almost word for word. He didn't reply. Not from coldness. Because no answer would have helped him at that specific stage either. He started running the math forward. What does this framework actually look like at 100,000 under management? He had never planned from a position of real evidence before. This felt entirely different from early YouTube fantasies. The old version of him planned from YouTube thumbnails. This version planned from 18 months of documented real results. He woke before 4:30 most mornings. Not because he had to, because he genuinely wanted to be there and ready. He stopped talking about trading over dinner. Not from secrecy. Nobody else had the context to hold the conversation. There is a specific loneliness to real expertise that absolutely nobody warns you about. He had learned to sit inside it. The market had reorganized his entire life the way other people's lives are organized around office hours. It just happened. 400,000 under management. Capital came in over 2 years, not from ads. Through introductions by people who trusted him. He had 4 investors now. One of them came through a lawyer who had a client who asked about Forex managers. He was building operational systems now, not just trading systems. Monthly report templates, drawdown protocols, a full compliance folder. He hired a part-time assistant to handle all administration. He needed to protect his decision-making capacity for actual trading. He managed 400,000 in open positions before noon and then went for a 30-minute walk. Standard Tuesday. Somewhere around 150,000 the numbers had completely dissociated. They became units. Percentages. Risk. Not dollars. If he felt the dollars, he couldn't function clearly. The dissociation was not a problem. It was a required adaptation. He studied the regulatory requirements for managing outside capital. Restructured accordingly. Did it properly the first time through. One friend traded equities at a fund. 2-hour phone calls every few months. Most normal he ever felt talking to anyone. He was not unhappy. That is important to say clearly and directly. But he was fully aware of what the work cost. A news event on Saturday pulled his attention. He checked the platform even though nothing was open. He always did. The market is always partially there. In the background, even on Sunday afternoon. He had stopped fighting that long ago. Late one evening, everyone else had gone. He pulled up a Euro/USD chart. Not to trade, just to watch, just to remember. He watched the price move for 10 minutes with zero analysis. Just the thing itself moving. Still beautiful if he was honest. Then he closed it, put his jacket on, walked to the door. Some things simply don't need explaining to anyone. There were now 7 people working inside the operation. Analysts, risk manager, developer, ops, accountant, investor relations. 7 people, 4.2 million under management. He built the system, defined the rules, created all the protocols. Others executed. He stopped placing most of the trades himself. That transition took 6 full months of trust building to genuinely complete. The first month he stepped back, he felt the wrong kind of anxiety. Someone else had the wheel. He kept reaching for it. He gave it time. He reviewed outcomes every month. The execution was clean. He adjusted twice, and that was that. By month 4, he was reviewing end-of-day summaries only, not tick by tick. That was hard. Also completely necessary. His investors were institutional now. A family office, high net worth individuals through a private banking relationship. They asked about Sharpe ratios and drawdown duration. Not depth, but duration. The entire conversation had completely changed. These were not people who found him through social media posts. They came through relationships. That is how this level operates. One institution ran a small allocation through him as a satellite strategy. They asked about succession planning. He had a document. His working day was not charts anymore. It was management, system-level decisions, investor communication, hiring the right people. He was not the person generating alpha directly anymore. He architected the conditions under which alpha was generated. That was different. He understood things about markets now that he genuinely could not explain to most people. Not secret. Just context dependent. Understanding it properly requires 10,000 hours of shared context. Most people simply haven't accumulated that context yet. The market is not a code to crack. It is a crowd, a vast continuous aggregate of every participant's behavior simultaneously. His edge was not knowing the answer. It was knowing where the crowd was wrong more often than he was wrong about that. His investors trusted him completely. That trust sat beneath everything like a foundation. He carried their worry so they could sleep. He had bad months. An 8% drawdown in April. Within his defined limits. Uncomfortable nonetheless. Both things were true. An investor called about the drawdown. He walked through every trade, every decision, every reason. 90 minutes. They stayed after. He ate lunch alone most days, not from sadness, from genuine preference. Silence was productive. He thought better inside it. He had thought about what came next, a larger fund, stepping back, licensing the system. He hadn't decided yet, not yet. For now, the window, the city below, the quiet afternoon, a man and his thoughts. The market always running somewhere. Beneath all the quiet, a part of him is always faintly watching the market. It never fully stops. He accepted that. He was in the elevator on the way out when his phone buzzed. Message about the new junior analyst asking a question. The junior analyst had been there 3 months, asking a specific question about a pattern, full of completely wrong assumptions. He read the message twice. He remembered asking that same exact question. Not the words themselves, the certainty behind them, that specific unearned confidence. He remembered the exact feeling of it. 3 elevator floors passed before he replied to anyone. He typed back, "Don't correct him too fast. Let him get close to seeing it himself before you show him where it is." He put the phone in his pocket. Some lessons simply cannot be taught. They can only be lived through at a cost. On a forum right now, someone just posted a screenshot of a $340 demo account profit. They wrote, "This is it. I finally figured it out." The replies are already flooding in. Fire emojis, strategy requests, pure excitement. Somewhere right now, someone who knows better is reading that exact thread, saying absolutely nothing. Nothing useful can be said yet. They will deposit $500 this week. They will lose most of it. And they will stay anyway. They always stay. He was that person once. Tuesday night, 11 p.m. A demo account, a laptop, a feeling like finding something secret. He was wrong about almost everything back then. The chart, the strategy, what edge even meant, how long it would take. He was right about exactly one thing. He stayed when it would have been easier and more reasonable to simply leave. Not the strategy, not the indicators, not the Discord server, not the course. Just staying long enough to learn what losing actually teaches. The market teaches. But only the people who stay long enough and honest enough to actually receive the lesson from it. He wasn't finished. He would never be completely finished. The market keeps evolving. So must he. That's just the nature of this. He turned and walked back toward the building. Tomorrow the London session opens at 4:30. Same as every morning. 4:30 a.m. London open, the same as always. The ritual at its core had never actually changed at all. 22 million under management. 3 screens. The same coffee mug. The same quiet before the session starts each day. He stopped saying the 22 million figure out loud. It wasn't a trophy anymore. It was infrastructure. It ran the business. 14 capital partners. 3 years of audited statements available through his compliance team. No screenshots. Just audited statements. His team ran the floor. He came in for the things that needed the person at the top to be actually present. A setup appeared on the London session. Perfect model. He recognized it in the time it took him to pick up his coffee. He executed. No hesitation. 7 years of accumulated context in a single decisive click. There was no other way to describe it. The trade closed green, not a large percentage. It didn't need to be. The system compounds across time, never in single moments. He opened his very first trading journal. Year 1. The entry read, I deposited 500 today. I think I've found it. He smiled at that, not mockingly at all, with genuine warmth for the person he had been then. That person had to exist first. The latest journal entry. This morning's trade. Clean. Clinical. Only facts. Not a single trace of emotion in the writing. 7 years of writing the same type of entry in a completely different way. That's the whole story. That's really all of it. He stood up, walked to the window, and looked out at the city, waking up slowly below him in the early light. Out there right now, someone just found those same 2 words on YouTube for the very first time tonight. They think they found a shortcut. There isn't one. He looked everywhere for it for years. It simply does not exist. But some of them will stay. They'll lose money and stay. Feel foolish and stay. It will cost exactly what it costs. Always. And a tiny fraction of those people will one day stand somewhere, looking at a city, thinking about this exact same thing. He turned from the window, walked back to the desk, sat down, time to work. Same as always, every single morning. Charts loaded. Coffee on the right side of the desk. London session 30 minutes in. Calm. Focused. Completely present. Ready. The market has no memory of anything he has ever done. Every single session starts completely clean. That is the gift and the demand. He watched the chart, he waited. No setup forming yet. The market wasn't offering anything on his terms. That was completely fine. Then it appeared. His setup, exactly on model. He placed his hand on the mouse and everything else went completely quiet. He executed. 7 years of tuition in one clean click. Not too fast, not too slow. Exactly when it needed to be done. The candle moved. It always moves. That's all it ever does. You just learn to read it with time and cost and patience. He's still there. He'll be there tomorrow. And right now, somewhere out there, someone just placed their very first demo trade.